Hi again, everybody, and welcome to Inside Golf. I'm Harry Donahue, and today we're back in Far Hills, New Jersey, at the headquarters of the United States Golf Association. This is the entrance to Golf House, and as we showed you last week, since 1972, the USGA has maintained this headquarters, as well as maintaining its own museum. The USGA has done so educationally and also to preserve the game of golf for future generations.
So the USGA
we looked at some of the great
December
exhibits
22nd,
and displays, and we're back with a look again at some of those great exhibits and displays from USGA champions and championships. Plus, you never know what you're going to find here. We'll take a look at the club that was used by an astronaut on the surface of the moon. In fact, he even shanked a shot. It even happens in outer space. It's coming up next as we continue our tour of the USGA Museum and Arnold Palmer Golf History Center. Next on Inside Golf. Inside Golf, presented by PGN Plus. Play your golf bucket list. By Jersey Man Magazine, it's a Jersey way of life, and Philly Man Magazine, bringing it to Broad Street. And by the Philadelphia Section PGA, experts in the game and business of golf.
At this moment, across the country, families are packing their bags for a getaway. And no matter where they end up, they'll all be home by dinner. Plan your own at playgolfamerica.com. From finding fun and affordable programs to finding advice from PGA and LPGA professionals, playgolfamerica.com has a way for you to get away. Visit today for details. playgolfamerica.com, your link to the game.
Golf is your passion. Each round is a unique experience with memories that last a lifetime. Make your next round one to remember with PGNplus.com, the Professional Golfers Network. Sign up for free for exclusive access to the best private courses in your area. Already a country club member? Go to PGNplus.com to learn how to take your membership further. Play your golf bucket list only on PGNplus.com. Book your tee time today.
In addition to a collection from the various champions of USGA events throughout the years, here at the Golf House Museum, there is also a collection of early golf in the United States and what it looked like back when. We are here at the USGA Museum with the senior curator, Michael Trossel. And Michael, we are standing in front of a display, clubs of champions between 1931 and 1949. And I see names like Dr. Carey Middlecoff is here, and there's one gentleman who probably doesn't get the recognition that he deserves in terms of a champion of a USGA event at Merion. Actually, the 1934 U.S. Open was won by a gentleman by the name of Olin Dutra. Now, if I mention USGA events at Merion, Olin Dutra's name doesn't pop into most people's mind, right?
Yeah, it's probably not coming up with Bob Jones and Lee Trevino, but Dutra was a great champion player in his own right, and it was a great story from 1934. He got really sick, come out from California on the way out there, had severe stomach pains, considered withdrawing even before the championship started, but pushed through and was able to get near the lead going into the final day. Back then, of course, 36 holes in the final day. And Dutra ends up winning. It's a great story. His brother Morty was really the one that kind of kept him in there and told him to push through, and I think he can do it.
What's on display here that Olin had during that tournament in 1934?
So we have one of his irons here, his Windjammer iron. We have a golf ball he used in 1934 as well. And this club, this right here is interesting. It is a miniature club made from the driver that he used to win the 34 Open. So that was carved out of the wood that he used as a driver that year.
That's pretty special. So Olin Dutra, we didn't forget about him, and he's on display forever right here at Far Hills.
Immortalized here at the Far Hills, the USGA Museum.
Michael, two people we've already talked about and seen when in displays here have been Ben Hogan and Babe Dietrichson Zaharias. But they're also joined here in a display that's labeled Heroic Comebacks. What's the reason behind that?
Well, we're in the comeback age, and for the country, for America, we were coming back from the Depression and World War II and coming out of that, and Eisenhower took over as president. Big golfer, by the way.
Absolutely.
Eisenhower. and kind of into the interstate system and the baby boomer generation. So America was having a great comeback, but so were Zaharias and Ben Hogan. Look at Ben Hogan in 1949. He gets in a near-fatal car crash down in Texas. Doctors tell him he may not walk again, never mind play golf. But he perseveres, goes out, pushes through, enters the 1950 U.S. Open. It was only his second event back that year, and goes out, pars the last hole using this one iron over here.
The famed one iron.
The famous Hogan one iron. He hits it on the green. The old butter knife hits it right on the green to about 35 feet, 2 putts for par, and then wins the three-way playoff the following day over Lloyd Mangrum and George Fazio. And it was a great comeback. It was inspiring because you have a lot of people who were crippled with injuries from World War II, and Hogan, of course, not quite on that level, was an inspiring sports figure in that sense. And the one iron itself, it took quite a road to get here. It was actually stolen out of his bag between the final round in the playoff in 1950. It wasn't discovered until 33 years later when it was brought to him, and he took one look at it and said, "That's my one iron," and donated us here at the USGA Museum.
And I know a couple years ago, as I referred earlier, when we first were beginning this tour with you, you take that on the road, so to speak, and you had it at Marion prior to the U.S. Open there, won by Justin Rose a couple of years ago.
We did, and I think one of the coolest parts of that is we took the one iron out there and we had the white gloves on and brought it out, and Sergio Garcia and a few other players said, "Is that Hogan's one iron?" And they really have an appreciation for history, especially when you can bring an artifact like that back to the place that actually the history was made.
And how about Babe here? What do you have of note from Babe's career?
Well, we have a wedge that Babe used in the 1954 U.S. Women's Open, and Babe had an unbelievable athletic career. She played baseball, she played basketball, she bowled, and she did track and field. She won 3 medals at the 1932 games in Los Angeles, and then she turned to golf. Grantland Rice, the sports writer, turned her onto the game, and she took it by storm. She won a U.S. Women's Amateur and then 2 U.S. Women's Opens before 1950, and then her final victory in 1954. And what made it so special is the fact that Babe was diagnosed with colon cancer the year before. So she actually played the 54 Open with a colostomy bag and really had to push through some pain and some discomfort when she won there.
Another prominent display here at the museum, Michael, involves a gentleman who actually had a tree named after him at Augusta National. The tree's not there, but General Eisenhower, Ike, former president, former NATO commander, Allied commander, is still here. And what's the reason for that, other than the fact that he loved golf?
He did love golf. You know, Eisenhower played about 100 rounds a year when he was in the White House, so more than 800 rounds during his 8 years, which is pretty amazing.
Probably a lot of them were 36 holes, but we won't go there, right?
Yeah, and you know, even when he wasn't out there on the golf course, he loved to just spend a little bit of time playing golf. And this letter we have here is from Eisenhower to the USGA president at the time, Ike Granger, thanking the USGA for putting in a putting green on the south lawn of the White House.
Oh, okay. That's where the origin of that is from.
Exactly, and it's still there today. It was taken out for a little bit under the Nixon administration, put back in under Bill Clinton, also a big golfer. But Eisenhower loved to play the game, and he would actually take an 8-iron or a wedge and kind of swing it when he was pacing back and forth, dictating to his secretary every morning. And even when President Kennedy took over in 1961, he walked into the Oval Office and noticed some pockmarks in the floor, and asked a carryover from the Eisenhower administration what the deal was with the floor being all marked up. He said, well, Eisenhower put on his golf spikes and walked back and forth when he had to dictate or talk on the phone or anything like that. So Eisenhower, golf was always on his mind.
Let me ask you this before we let you go. And you, as I say, know this place inside and out. Do you have a favorite display, a favorite part of the building?
You know, I'd say my favorite artifact in here is the Moon Club. It's a club that really transcends golf history and goes on to popular culture. Like, I know when my parents come in here, neither of them are big golfers, that's what they gravitate towards. It's something, you know, I saw this on TV. I saw Alan Shepard swing in golf club. So I think that's really cool. We've got so many great artifacts from Bob Jones and Ben Hogan and Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods from golf tournaments or championships. But that club, I mean, there's only been one club on the moon, and that was it.
Yeah. Michael, thank you. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Look forward to coming back and seeing the expansion.
Can't wait to have you.
Stay with us. More to come here on Inside Golf from the USGA Museum. We'll be back with a look at the Hall of Champions. Each one of these plaques has on it a name inscribed of a USGA champion from the past. Stay with us.
Golf is your passion. Each round is a unique experience with memories that last a lifetime. Make your next round one to remember with pgnplus.com, the Professional Golfers Network. Sign up for free for exclusive access to the best private courses in your area. Already a country club member? Go to pgnplus.com to learn how to take your membership further. Play your golf bucket list only on pgnplus.com. Book your tee time today.
You know, golf course superintendents
are the unsung heroes of our great game.
Thanks to the game's efforts,
we now have turf that needs less water
and is more sustainable
and offers natural wildlife habitats on our courses.
If you love golf like I do,
like what I do,
thank a golf course superintendent.
Thank a golf course superintendent.
Do thank your golf course superintendent.
Thank a golf course superintendent.
A message from the Golf Course Superintendents Association of America.
Welcome back to Inside Golf. We continue with our tour of the museum here at the USGA headquarters in Forest Hills. We right now are in a room of the age of the superpowers, starting around 1960 and going up to 1990. And here with us to be our guide is Victoria Student. Victoria, thanks for joining us today.
Happy to be here.
Give us an overall sort of description of what's on display here.
Sure. So in the 1950s and 60s, the game of golf's popularity grew exponentially with the rise of television. And that brought about a whole new cast of characters such as Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, Lee Trevino, and Gary Player.
And do you have any particular favorite artifact, something that you think most people would like to take a look at?
Yeah, sure. So right behind us over here is a visor worn by Arnold Palmer in the 1960 U.S. Open at Cherry Hills. And this actually remains the greatest final round comeback in U.S. Open history. He shot a final round 65 to make up a 7-stroke deficit. And following sinking his final putt on the 18th hole, he threw his visor up into the air, and it landed near Skip Manning, the 11-year-old nephew of Cherry Hills Club professional. And he picked this up and had Arnold Palmer sign it. And it actually remained in Manning's possession for the next 48 years. And he donated it to the museum 48 years later. And
it looks very well worn. I don't know if the youngster wore it himself after Arnie tossed it, but it looks like pretty well worn.
We like to joke around that it looks like he took it out for a few rounds to show it off to his friends.
What else is here that people you think would really get a kick out of seeing?
I think the Moon Club, which
we heard about the Moon Club.
Definitely good.
Show us the Moon Club.
Sure.
Give us an idea. Wow, how did it get here?
Yeah, so this is definitely a personal favorite of all of us here working at the museum. Alan Shepard had already secured his place in history when he was the first American in space in 1961. But a decade later, he cemented that legacy and also brought golf into hundreds of millions of households. So this club was actually at the suggestion of comedian Bob Hope. Yeah, Shepard got the idea that he would like to hit a golf ball on the surface of the moon. So he and golf professional Jack Hardin from Houston attached a 6-iron club head to this this instrument used for rock and soil samples that he would collect on the lunar surface. And when he got up there, he hit 2 golf balls. One he shanked into a crater.
No, don't say it.
Yeah.
Was that the first one?
He was the first one.
Oh, my goodness.
It's quite difficult in a very bulky spacesuit, you can imagine.
No excuses.
Yes.
Victoria, no excuses.
So then the second one he connected with very well, and he famously said it traveled miles and miles and miles. And in 1974, entertainer Bing Crosby, who is a friend of Shepard and also a committee member of the USGA Museum, helped secure it for Golf House.
That's amazing. So those 2 balls are still up there,
still up on
either
the moon.
floating in space or laying somewhere in a crater.
Probably. And he actually never revealed the brand of the golf ball so that no one would profit off of it.
Well, I imagine, Victoria, no display of champions would be complete without something from Tiger Woods.
Certainly, and we have here his wedge that he used in the 2000 U.S. Open at Pebble Beach, and he authored one of the most dominating performances in sports history.
Sort of lapped the field, didn't he?
He did. He won by a record 15 strokes, which broke the previous record by 4 strokes. and he made 21 birdies over the course of the championship.
So that wedge helped him get there.
Yes, certainly did. And actually, between 1991 and 1996, Tiger Woods won 6 consecutive USGA championships.
And he won, what, 3 U.S. amateurs, I believe,
Yep,
right?
3 U.S. juniors and then 3 U.S. amateurs right in a row. So his match play record is quite incredible.
Now he signed, I see over here, this would be, what, is that from that same U.S. Open at Pebble Beach?
Yeah, right there you can see an autograph flag from the 2000 U.S. Open, the 100th U.S. Open in our history.
Well, Victoria, we are now in the very spacious Hall of Champions. A lot of names up on the walls here. Give us the history and the significance of this room.
Sure. So starting in 1895 was when we had our first 3 USGA championships, the U.S. Open, the U.S. Amateur, and the U.S. Women's Amateur. And from then until today, we have the name of every USGA championship up on the walls. And here you can see the 13 trophies for our 13 USGA championships held annually. And
do you have a particular favorite looking at these trophy cases?
Sure. I love the U.S. Women's Amateur trophy.
It is ornate.
It is. It's totally different from all of the other ones we have. You can see the details with the coloring and the inlay.
Now, there's a little history involving, in the same display booth, one of the trophies there, right?
Sure. The U.S. Open, which you can see has the winged victory across the case here on top of it, that trophy was actually destroyed in a fire in 1946. The policy is that the champion used to take the original trophy home with them following their win, and Lloyd Mangrum took it home to his club, which unfortunately burned down in a fire with the trophy. So had to have another one made.
So that was 1946, and after that, you couldn't take it home with you, I assume?
I believe it actually continued until the 1970s, but at that point, now the champion will take home a champion replica, which will then come back, be engraved, and be given to the next one. We have to kind of clean it up in case they've been, doing some extracurricular activities with it.
Now I look around here at the various plaques on the wall and the names engraved, and you still have a lot of space. I'm just thinking, what happens 50, 100 years from now? It won't be your problem or my problem to worry about where they're going to extend the Hall of Champions.
Certainly. I'm not sure what will happen once we run out of plaques.
Stay with us. More to come from the USGA Museum here in Far Hills. And by the way, the museum is open 6 days a week from Tuesday through Sunday. And it's less than 2 hours away from Center City, Philadelphia. If you haven't seen it already, I'd like to introduce you to Jersey Man Magazine, published by former Eagle tight end Ken Dunnick. It's the only men's magazine in our area. Enjoy articles on cigars, martinis, the mob, business, politics, and, of course, golf. Written by big-time journalists like George Anastasia, Bill Lyon, Sam Carchidi, and many others. Subscriptions are only $20 a year and are available at jerseymanmagazine.com.
At Valley Forge Casino Resort, we're rolling out the action and bringing it all to the table. So go all in at Philly's premier entertainment destination. Now on sale. Josh Turner, March 28th. Jenny McCarthy, April 10th. Hart, May 22nd. Frank Sinatra Jr., May 23rd. Valley Forge Casino Resort, the only Philly area casino that has it all.
Welcome back. Inside Golf continues. It's time for our Teed Off panel, and today we're back at the beautiful Valley Forge Casino Resort, right on the gaming floor. And we have some real gamers here today, let me tell you.
Somebody just won a lot of money over there.
Well, you can do that as soon as we're done this segment. Jack Conley's here. Jack, for years involved with the PGA of America, served as the president a couple terms, and now as an overall golf ambassador here in Philadelphia. Jack, always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Mike Kern from the Philadelphia Daily News. He's covered golf going back to Tom Morris's days.
When I was this big.
I think. Yeah. No, we're not going to go there. And Joe Logan from MyPhillyGolf.com, no stranger to our Teed Off panel. Recently, guys, I was reading a quote. I'm going to put these on because I'm getting younger like everybody else here, in which Patrick Reed said to a golf magazine after he won that Tournament of Champions out in Hawaii, he said, "You've got to believe in yourself." He said, "You have to learn how to win out here. And if you do that enough, you start to expect to win, not just play well, but expect to win. And he thinks that is what has helped him become one of the top 20 players in the world, according to the world rankings. Which leads me, Jack, to the question, with the game of golf, is golf more of a mental game and confidence game than any other sport? Let's face it, it's not a team game. You're the team. You're out there thinking and having confidence or lack thereof in yourself. And is it more so in golf than any other sport, do you think?
Well, I think so, because it's you and the golf ball against the golf course. And you've got to perform. And I think what he's saying in that is the more chances you have of being in the top, then it's going to build on the confidence. Obviously, they all have good technique out there, otherwise they wouldn't be out there. So it is a mental game to where you know that you can do something. And if I know that I can make that foul shot in basketball, or if I can make that 2 or 3 foot putt in golf when it counts, then that gives me the confidence to know that I can do it again. And when I do make it, it just adds to the confidence.
Yeah. You know, Mike, there's a lot of downtime in golf. You know, sometimes there's 250 or 300 yards of downtime. And then, you know, there's the putting aspects of it, standing over a putt, and a lot of bad memories come into your mind. I mean, how do you stand on this issue?
I mean, Jack was saying it before we actually started, but every shot in golf is a free throw, if you think about it. And I think golf personally, I mean, I know it's got to do with the mechanics and whatever, you have to have your, but to me, it's all basically up here. You know, why do as golfers we get in ruts where we play real well for like a month? We'll go out and then all of a sudden, as quickly as it came, it's gone. And you can't figure out, like, what was I doing last week that I'm not doing this week? And I think that's why average people don't realize how good professional golfers, and I'm not talking about Tiger Woods or Rory, I'm just talking about the guy who might be the 1,000th best player in the world, that he's hitting 500 shots a day, doing all that work just to get to be, it's almost mind-boggling.
And when you look at the, you know, on the Monday morning list of who made what on the previous tournament, I mean, 4 shots can mean, you know, $1 million differential in pay. Joe, you know, Ben Hogan always kind of protected the secret to his game. I think the one thing he said was it's in the dirt, whatever that meant. You never heard him talking about the mental aspects of it, though, did you?
No. But to your original question was is golf the most mental game? I've got to believe boxing is right up there with it, because
you got to be crazy to get in the ring.
You're standing there across from one guy, and if you don't have confidence in boxing, you're going to get tagged pretty quickly. But golf is right up there. And also what Patrick Reed said about sort of expecting to win. I remember when Michelle Wie was young and sort of tried to skip women's golf, girls golf, and went from being like about a 13-year-old to trying to play the PGA Tour. She didn't have any success, and one of the criticisms of her at the time was she didn't hang around junior golf long enough to learn how to win. And so when she was trying to make it at the next level, she had no concept. She'd only won 1 title at that point in her career, and she needed to learn how to win. Well, now she's figured it out. She's done her time, and so I think Patrick Reed's exactly right, and I think he's actually going to be winning some major championships.
Jack, you're the only guy on this panel who had his name on the leaderboard at a major one time. And I don't know how long it stayed up there, but you had a chance to see it up there, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, it was at Medina, and I was 1 under after 10 holes. And somebody asked me, you know, did you get nervous? And I said, not really, because it wasn't there long enough. You know, on 11.
What year was that?
That was in '75.
Was that a Hale Irwin or?
No. That was a Lou Graham.
Lou Graham.
Yeah.
Over Mahaffey, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So wow. But
it
to
was,
look up there now, but you won a number of events locally in the Philadelphia section.
I've been very fortunate.
Yeah. Did you prefer to play from behind or with the lead? Or did it make a difference?
Well, it really didn't make a difference the way we played, other than the PGA Championship. I mean, it's a one-day tournament for most of us. So you really don't have a chance to play from behind or ahead. During our PGA Championship, which is a 3-day, I've never won it, but I finished second 6 times. And now maybe if I had a tougher mental game, I might have been able to win it once or twice. But it's all about confidence. If you know you can do something, then you feel at ease and you can execute. Tension will not allow you to execute. And that's what the average golfer has. I mean, how many times do you see somebody shoot a career front 9 and then choke on the backside? That's why they have handicaps. So you play bad on the front, you play good on the back to keep your handicap the same, because it's a comfort zone. And Patrick Reed is, I agree with Joe, he's going to be somebody to reckon with this year. He's going to be right up there.
The one thing that those guys do so well too is they focus on the moment. Every shot, like we will be sitting there thinking about the 3-foot putt we missed back on the last hole, or maybe you're thinking a hole ahead, or you're thinking a shot. Those guys, I'm convinced, are thinking about one thing. It's that one shot, whatever that shot is, and then they'll deal with what they're going to deal with after they do that. And to me, the amount of whatever word you want to, mind game, whatever, that goes into being that kind of golfer, to me is just, like I said, my hats are off to him, because I couldn't do it.
Yeah, well, look at Trevino. Trevino was a jokester between shots. But
that's how he got rid of his nervous energy.
That's exactly right. But he was able to focus when the time came. So as Mike said, it's important to be able to focus.
Go ahead, John.
I was going to say, last year when Patrick Reed won and said he thought he was a top 5 player, people laughed at him, mocked him. I remember thinking at the time, that's the way you got to think. You're not going to get to be a top 5 player unless you think like that.
Two stories similar to that. Jack Nicklaus one time said he never 3-putted in a major, and which he did, but he would not admit that. And one time when Seve 4-putted in a major, and I asked him what happened, all he said was,
I
put, and make.
That sums it up. That's the mind of the great golfers in the world. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to Jack Conley, to Mike Kern, and to Joe Logan. And Inside Golf continues with more in just a moment. The Valley Forge Casino Resort is the region's only full amenity gaming resort, and it's only seconds from the Pennsylvania Turnpike at King of Prussia. It features 600 slots, 50 table games, and there are nearly 500 guest rooms, plus 8 restaurants designed to meet all of your dining needs. So put the beautiful Valley Forge Casino Resort on your destination list.
At this moment, across the country, families are packing their bags for a getaway. And no matter where they end up, they'll all be home by dinner. Plan your own at playgolfamerica.com. From finding fun and affordable programs to finding advice from PGA and LPGA professionals, playgolfamerica.com has a way for you to get away. Visit today for details. playgolfamerica.com, your link to the game.
That's it for this week's edition of Inside Golf. Hope you enjoyed another look at the USGA Museum here in Far Hills, New Jersey. Now, if you're thinking about coming here for a tour, keep in mind the museum is open 6 days a week, Tuesdays through Sundays, and it's convenient. From the Philadelphia downtown area, less than 2 hours away. And inside, well, as you've seen over the past couple of weeks, the history of the game of golf in America, dating back to the 19th century through the 20th and now into the 21st century. And still to come, opening up later in the spring, the Jack Nicklaus Room. And Inside Golf will be here when that room is open at the museum in Far Hills. I'm Harry Donahue. Thanks for joining us. See you next week on Inside Golf. Inside Golf, presented by PGN Plus. Play your golf bucket list. By Jersey Man Magazine, it's a Jersey way of life, and Philly Man Magazine, bringing it to Broad Street. And by the Philadelphia Section PGA, experts in the game and business of golf.